together to share what's going on in our community and get that opportunity to communicate with our entire community online and out there so more people can participate in the great community we call Kaiser and that we call home. So there we are. We're on Facebook Live and we are a go. Fantastic. So December, nothing's going on. On the city side, we've got a few things going on. We are still having our regular council meetings. We are still, our committees mostly are taking a hiatus this month, but don't worry, we're going to get back to all of that work in January. Our public works crew is working hard to keep our streets safe and clear for all of the ice that we are experiencing, and then more importantly, to make sure that if we do experience ice or snow, that they're ready to go. We work in partnership with Marion County, in case people are wondering if we have snow plows set aside. We don't. We don't. But we try to be ready, and we work with Marion County for sanding and other services. So just want to make sure everybody's aware of that. And if anybody hasn't wrapped their pipes, it's probably a bad morning for you. Please do that and make sure that you are ready. We want everybody to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. If there's a way to prepare your home, your apartment for cold weather, please do that. And I know that Betty, your district is working hard with preparedness, but before we get to talking to each of you, I'd like to introduce everybody on the program today. Betty Hart from the Kaiser Fire District, Pastor Jose Dominguez from La Luz de Valle Church, Ramiro Navarro on the Chariots Board of Directors representing Kaiser, and joining us today for the first time are Sarita Cross, our City Councilor-elect for Position 4, and Bob Salazar, our new Salem Kaiser School Board representative from Zone 6, which includes Kaiser. So this can be a fun program today, and we hope that folks will put questions in the chat if they're or on Facebook, and we can hopefully answer them as we go. We'll also do some posts afterwards with links where you can get more information about what's going on in our community. So, okay, safety. Betty, what's going on? And then, of course, it's not all about safety. There's a special event today, isn't there?
Yes, right. It's Christmas time, and boy, for the Kaiser Fire District, it's the busiest time of the year. And today is Candy Cane Day, and people can come to the Kaiser Fire Station. Starts at 10 o'clock, and come on Wittenberg Drive, which is the side street, and through the back parking lot, and you get to drive through the bays, and Santa, I believe, will be there, as well as candy canes for all who want them. It should be a lot of fun. Some people might remember, of course, that we used to drive through all the streets and hand out candy canes, but the call volume has gotten so high that we really can't dedicate that much to the program. So we've gone to this model, and I think it's worked pretty well so far. And of course, last Sunday was the Christmas pancake breakfast, the first one since 2019. So we're really excited about that. And we were able to raise some money for both the Kaiser Fire Foundation and the Kaiser Food Bank, which is at the Lutheran Church. And each one, let's see, I thought I had, oh yes, $1,489 went to each organization. And a lot of people put money in the donation bin, and that was huge. Just huge. So we appreciate that. And there were quite a few leftover eggs and milk, and so that it was also donated to the Kaiser Community Food Bank, so they could hand that out, and people would have that to use. I have to say, the Kaiser Fire has the best pancakes
Right.
And and when you take into consideration they make their batter in a barrel, it's pretty amazing. So yeah, I am always impressed with how tasty their pancakes are. And I'm a kind of a fussy pancake eater. So anyway, I appreciate that. And of course, from a safety side is be sure you keep your trees watered and your fresh ones. I have an artificial, so I don't have to water in. But anyway, and if you are just getting around to putting your tree up, be sure you cut a slice off the bottom so that it can absorb the water. Some trees will take up to a gallon of water a day or more, so you might have to do it several times a day. And also, because it's so cold, people are using space heaters. So we want to be cautious about those. Don't leave them unattended in rooms where people are not. And unplug them when you're not using them, because they'll still draw some power, and they can be a big fire hazard. So they're great because they can keep the room that you're actually using warm without having to heat your whole house. And but they can have their a downside as well. So it's important for people to be careful with them, but and use them wisely. So yeah, so those are main tips I have for right now.
I really appreciate that. And does anybody disagree about the Kaiser Fire pancakes? I mean, seriously, they're the best. And Santa Claus was as jolly as always. I think Santa was really happy to be back at the Kaiser Fire District and back there today to hand out the candy canes.
Yes. Yeah, Santa Claus has been very faithful about coming to the Kaiser Fire pancake breakfast every year. And we are so delighted that he was back again this year and greeting the kids. I was amazed at how many babies there were. I mean, still in there. And people were bringing their babies to get a picture with Santa for the first Christmas. So that was a lot of fun to see. And it's not like the babies were going to be eating pancakes, I can say. But it was a great event. I certainly enjoyed what I was doing. I will say it was, it's tiring for someone who's not quite as young. And we had great help. Not only several of the staff and volunteers for the fire district stepped up to work, but their families helped out too. And that was really a great thing to see. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
It was truly a family event. Today's going to be a family event. And I know that your crews are going to be very busy over this holiday season with providing safety and care when things don't go exactly according to people's plans.
Yes, that's it. Yes. And with kind of a new surge of respiratory disease, if you will, it's they'll probably get a lot of calls. People should, keep their distance, maybe wear your mask when you're in public and stuff. I personally have acquired a sinus infection, which I'm thankful it wasn't something a lot worse. So I'm going to hunker down the rest of the day and try not to work too hard for a couple of days.
Well, there's some of the things we've learned during COVID. Wash your hands, cover your coughs and sneezes, stay home when you're sick. Those still apply. Those didn't go away and they never will. So let's all remember that. And in some instances, sharing is not caring. And this will be one of them.
Yeah, right.
So speaking of that, I'm going to go to Ramiro because you have some safety tips. But if people want to be out there traveling safely, buses are always ready to go. And this year, for the first time, I believe we have 7-day-a-week service in the holiday season.
Yes, we have 7-day-a-week service. Our general manager mentioned something the other night where he said now we're closed on 3 days out of the year as opposed to 100 and something days out of the year because we're offering more service. So it's really awesome that now we're making our announcements of Chariot service being closed less frequently. Um, Speaking of which, I want to bring up that we are going to not have service this holiday season on Christmas Day. So that's Sunday, December 25th. And we will not be operating on Sunday, January 2nd in observance of New Year's Day. But we will be resuming normal operations the following Mondays on both of those instances. Let's see, what else do I have? Sorry, I'm reading off my notes here. Chariots will be providing transportation to and from the holiday events. So we have this specific holiday event, which is with the Arches Project. We will be, that's today from 11 to 2 p.m. Folks that are attending the holiday event over on Commercial Street can just hop on a bus and get off at Union and High Street to attend that event. We also partner with Arches. I love our partnership with Arches because I think that it's really something that is compassionate in how we provide service to our houseless neighbors during the cold season. You know, this Wednesday, I think it's going to get down to about 19 degrees. And during, those temperatures, the Arches shelters, warming shelters open up. We have a couple different shelters as well that aren't affiliated with Arches. But when they open up, Chariots opens up and provides service to our houseless neighbors to be able to get to and from those shelters. If somebody were interested in finding out some information on those shelters, you can check us out at chariots.org /warming shelters. And that's where you'll get a whole list of those shelters that we're going to be partnering with. So Chariots in the news. Chariots has been in the news lately. We talked a little bit about our long range transit plan, which gets folks really interested, and which is super awesome that we're looking into the future, 20 years into the future, and that folks are interested in us looking that far ahead because they realize how important it is that we plan ahead for these folks. So that article was done with the Salem Reporter, and it talks a little bit about us increasing frequency. It talks a little bit about our payless system so that folks don't have to have the exact change on them anymore. If you'd like to, you can absolutely still use that as an option. Starting late in 2023, we're also going to have an option so folks can use a card where they can go purchase at the Walgreens, at the Safeway, and be able to ride on the bus just using that tap and go card. And let's see. So the last thing that I have on here is the holiday parade. So we were able to participate in the holiday parade, and we got an award from the mayor. Thank you for that.
Oh, you guys earned it. Your maintenance people, and I want to give a huge shout out here. The Chariots maintenance folks do the bus every year. It is always done to the nines. It is so beautiful. The colors, the lights, the quality of the bus every year. And it was just such a delight to have Chariots back and do such a beautiful job. And yes, they earned an honorable mention trophy in the Lights Parade.
I joked around saying that it was an award for the most lit float in the parade, and that was something that that the director Nohos Presley had mentioned, because we could see the float from almost the front of the parade. It was bright, it was beautiful, it was amazing. It was something that really got folks excited, and I think just Chariots in general, with our new partnership with the Youth Zero program, is getting folks excited because we definitely seen a lot of youth jumping up and down during the parade, screaming Chariots. So that was really awesome to see the appreciation for all the hard work that we did to make that happen.
Well, and the numbers on that youth program are fantastic.
Absolutely. I think we have a 70, I'm gonna chop this up. I want to say it's about a 72% increase in ridership amongst youth when compared to last year,
Yep,
because of our Youth Zero program. And so it's effective. It's
very.
effective. It's helping folks. It's getting people where they need to be in a safe manner. You're less likely to be in a vehicle accident if you are riding on a bus. So just to mention that I wanted to drop that. And that's all I have to report.
Well, be a little modest because we got the report. It was sent to City Council at our request because we were one of the agencies that helped fund this pilot program for the Youth Bus Pass program. And since its inception, they have provided 67,000 rides to youth and children who are traveling and need to get the places by bus. This is huge. The demand was there all along. The youth can now stay at school for programs, for practice, for tutoring, for sports, whatever they need to do. They don't have to worry about running for a school bus. If they need to get to work, they can. If they need to get to, whatever they're going to be doing, they can get there. And it's fantastically successful. And we are really hoping that these numbers help make it clear that we are going to be moving forward with funding programs like this to provide transit for our under 18 and under in our community to be able to ride and get to where they need to be. Fantastically successful. Congratulations. We're happy to be a small part of that. And I know our McNary students are taking full advantage. I see them waiting for the bus. Yeah. And it's been great for the after school programs. And it's my pleasure to welcome for the first time on this program, Bob Salazar, Salem Keizer School District Board member, longtime educator. I want to give you a chance to introduce yourself to our viewers who may not know you and know your background, and also talk a little bit about what this Bus Pass program and other involvement has meant for the success and ongoing success of our students. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you. There are several things, as Ramiro was relating, and as you reinforced, is the opportunity for those students who don't have that transportation can participate in activities after school. In our visit with Sarita and yourself last week, we saw the many great things that are going on in McNary, and in our conversations with the principal, the idea that these things that they are offering, plus the activities, every kid that has that opportunity has a greater interest in school, in participating and having success. And, that when I talked to Ramiro, not only in our visit, but in our board meetings, they talked about, the opportunities that are presented to students to be able to have that type of transportation. So I really do see that as a plus and a great venue to continue to support. And RJ, a lot of praise goes to you on that. Secondly, a little bit about me. I taught for about 17 years in Woodburn, and then was a counselor for 5, a counselor dean of students, and then for 3 years I was vice principal at the middle school there. And then the last year I says, I'm ready for a building. And that opportunity says, well, we don't have any openings right now. I says, well, if something comes up, I'm going to go. And at that time, Woodburn heard that, or Salem Keizer called and said, hey, we've got a building for you. And so I came in. I was 2 years at Washington Elementary as a principal, and then last 2 years at Myers Elementary in West Salem. But retired a little bit early, but I wasn't. Health was good, and had a lot of experience to share. So I continued working with the ESD on mentoring first and second year teachers, and also working with a program for dropout students. And another unique program that I pretty much helped develop was schools that weren't meeting adequate yearly progress. They had that tutorial program, and it couldn't be offered by the district that they were in or the school they were in. So the ESD asked me to, develop this and work with this. And I did because they felt like you had other teachers that had retired. Well, some of those other teachers had retired for a reason. They felt, they'd had their field. But I went and asked, I says, well, what about the possibility of using teachers from the district? And they says, well, that's fine, but it has to be after their hours, and it has to be something that is, that they develop. So I says, fine, but it was a winner for me because I felt the teachers, first of all, they know the kids and they know the curriculum that they're dealing with. So it's easier to assess what's needed to be done rather than it was kind of difficult because you had a lot of the freelance companies that were coming in and offering gas and offering cell phones and different things like that. But the thing that would happen with that was that as soon as the student was dropped, so the cell phone was taken away, and plus they never paid for the hookup for those cell phones. So it was really difficult for the parents. But our program, and a lot of parents found that out and started coming over to our program because we were using our teachers, and that they were more comfortable with it. The other thing, the real plus that I didn't think of, a little bit crossed my mind, but teachers felt that they'd have 2 or 3 kids, and pretty soon they developed a real relationship with those students, and that passed over into the classroom. All of a sudden, they weren't the mean teacher; they were the good teacher. And this is things that happen with the kids, with the other kids that surrounded them, and the teachers just got a lot more respect, and their classroom management was better. So those are some things that were real pluses. And then just before the pandemic, I was working with the Oregon Department of Education on alternative ed programs, and that included homeschooling, GED, and then some charter schools, and just schools that were alternative programs from the main school. And that was very good. Again, just as our school board meeting the other day met with Chemeketa, we were collaborating with them also on the programs that could benefit the students that were not necessarily, feeling challenged or for whatever reasons didn't fit the mold for the regular schools. But boy, from what I saw in McNary the other day, I don't see how they couldn't, because it was just, I thought, I don't know about Sarita or Mayor Clark, how you felt about it, but I was impressed thoroughly. So that's pretty much me.
Well, we're delighted to have you on board and to be able to tap your experience to serve our students. Yes, the tour that we were able to go on at McNary High School is very impressive, but so is their leader, Eric Jesperson. He is the principal. Last year, he was the secondary principal of the year, something he will not mention, but I will, and brag all day long, because when we talk world-class McNary Celts, and that is something that they embed into everything that they do. It is an attitude. It is a mindset. It is how the principal, the entire staff has embraced this attitude of success, and they are investing it and immersing their students in that attitude of success. Something that happened on the tour was several times we would walk into a classroom, Mr. Jesperson would say, introduce us to a student and say, tell us about the program. And none of these students were prepped. Like, okay, we're going to be bringing the mayor and the school board and counselor over here, and we want to have you all ready. Nope, it was spontaneous. And those kids stood and delivered. They knew how to talk about what they were doing. All of the professional skills and how they speak, how they carry themselves was so evident. And it was very exciting to see that. An hour later, I was walking home because I live very close to the school, so I walked. And I was in the midst of all the students as they're leaving the campus. And there was a group of young men, and one of them turned to me and says, "Aren't you the mayor?" And I'm going, yes. And he goes, "Oh, I saw you in my class. You came and came to my class, and it was nice to meet you," and introduced me to his friends who were there. And it was really nice that that same attitude of professional, well-mannered skills carries out into the community and how these students continue to interact. And it was very, very impressive, very nice. and watch for our students to continue to just excel as they get the skills, the education to be successful as they leave high school in whatever area they're going. But thank you for mentioning the partnership with Chemeketa. That's huge. The Chemeketa Scholars Program is so important for breaking down barriers between students, finishing up their K-12 and going on to post-secondary education. And that is a very important program for our community and for our students.
One other shout out to the principal. I saw Mark last night at Rolando's event, and I mentioned to him how impressed I was with everything that was going on. And I told him, I said, as a former administrator, I could walk into a classroom and I could tell if the teacher was prepared or not. You could tell by the way the students were engaged, how they were responding to people that were coming in. And we saw all of that. I saw, as you mentioned, you saw students who were engaged in whatever they were doing and working in groups and they were focused. They weren't distracted by our attendance. And as you mentioned, the particular individuals that were asked to show us what they were doing were not prepped, but were very astute in what they were explaining. And then also, the principal in general, he knew their names, and that was great. He knew the kids, they knew him, and you could tell there was a great deal of respect for him. So as he wasn't having to, reprimand anybody or anything, it was just a great experience for myself to see, the way that the school and the students were conducting themselves.
I'd encourage anybody who wants to stay in touch with what's going on in McNary, make sure that if you're on Facebook, like their page, their APT, which is the, I never remember this acronym, but it is their video media productions. They do videos of their different programs. They post them. So they're involved in all aspects of not just the educational experience, but then using it to reach into the whole community. So make sure you like their pages on Facebook, follow along, and always show up to the events, the shows, the music, sports, and the other activities that they have for the students at McNary High School.
I'd like to make another shout out to the fire department. It was 3 weeks ago when we were playing basketball at the courthouse, and it was a 35 and older group, in which I manage. And there was a gentleman who went down with a heart attack, and the group there administered CPR and also shocked him a couple of times. But the fire department, the medics were there, I would say 6 to 8 minutes after the call was made. And they came in and performed what they had to do and then took the gentleman out. And the doctor said afterwards that it was the prompt and accurate medication that was dealt with that helped him to save the gentleman's life. So very appreciative of that.
Thank you. I will be happy to pass that along because, I have to say our staff is so professional when they get there, and for a call like that, their goal is to get there in under 6 minutes, and they do over 90% of the time. So yes, it's so important to the success of saving somebody's life or whatever. So thank you so much for sharing that, Bob. I look forward to sharing that with the chief and stuff. So yes.
Going back to McNary, if I could just interject, a couple of years ago, wanted to find out what the disparity between the graduation rates between Hispanic students or Latino students and our Anglo students. And as I walked in, Principal Jesperson, we had set up an appointment for that. I says, I just have some questions for you, and I'd really like to know this. And so he already had the statistics, and I just kind of want to share this with you. It goes along with what we're saying about the success of McNary, about the excitement and the mentality and the attitude of success and how the kids have caught it, whether they're Anglo or whether they're Hispanic. they caught the fact that they can succeed. And the statistic is this, and this is what I was given. In 2014, there was a 12.5% difference in graduation rates between our white students and our Latino students. It's quite a disparity. 73% of Latino students graduated in 4 years. 86% of white students graduated on time. For 2 consecutive years, both demographics of students have almost identical graduation rate, and both are in the 90% range. So we're seeing the mentality and the attitude. And I was hearing Bob as he was talking about the annual progress rate in the schools. Obviously McNary is at a high rate, and we would like to pray and think that the other schools, North Salem, South Salem, that they would also raise their level of graduation, and among Latinos as well. There's something that we can tap into there in McNary that could help maybe the other schools. But I just wanted to interject that. Principal Jesperson and his team are doing an amazing job. We appreciate them. We do an event every year called the scholarship banquet for the graduates there at McNary, and we've been received with open arms and so much help there, and it's exciting to see the excitement of the students and how they're succeeding there.
Yes, and just adding a little bit more to that. When I was at the Oregon Department of Education, we looked at alternative. 90% was the goal, and that was primarily with your STEM classes. We were down to 75 to 80% graduation rate, and so to see that improve and to close that gap between the Latino and the marginal students in the city is something to really be proud of. One of the things, and I think we need to really promote the positive things that are going along, because we hear in board meetings about the safety and the suspension rate and different things of that nature. But some of that was due to the pandemic. Students had been left to their own for a year and a half or however long. We were closed out. And when they came back, it was a new socialization for them. They had to, reacquaint themselves with what social skills they had before. And those things take a little bit of time. And it takes, the readjustment to the teachers. But, as Hosea said, whatever positives, things that are coming out of McNary needs to be a model for, the rest of our schools.
Yeah, and to Mayor Clark's point of McNary just being a world-class institution, and they're doing great things. One thing I've mentioned on this program before is Principal Jesperson's initiative to recruit more bilingual, bicultural educators, and he does that by recruiting individuals as teachers' aides or teachers' assistants and supporting them while they're attending school to further their education. And so I have friends who came that were DACA recipients who are now teachers at schools in the Salem Kaiser School District. So that to me is really awesome, and it's something I hope gets reflected in other places in the school district.
And it takes a community in different areas of our community to help our young people. One of the things to help them succeed in high school or grade school or the lower grades. I know one of the things that we're trying to do in the faith community is we're trying to come along the fringes, and we're trying to mentor and encourage and be positive and catch the kids at the low grades and be able to model before them what success is. So what we try to do is we try to find 1 or 2 students that are succeeding and are doing well, and try to model success in school, good grades, a good attitude. And we're not in the educational realm per se, but we're trying to teach the parents and the home the importance of a well-rounded education.
Well, I love that it is about community. It is about us coming around one another and engaging holistically across our community. You have reminded me that there's a fabulous program now here in Kaiser at the Rec, Valor Mentoring, and we're going to get Tim Davis on this program in 2023 to talk about the work that community members are doing to connect with people in our community, our young men and young women in our community, to be part of that fabric. But at this point, I would like to give everybody a chance to meet Sarita Cross, our counselor-elect for position 4. She will be succeeding Roland Herrera in position 4. That was the seat I held before I became mayor. So you are following a great tradition of leaders in position 4. We are so excited to have you coming on to City Council. And for folks who don't know you, share who you are, what you do, and welcome.
Well, thank you so much. I just love this. I love all the inspiring words. So my name is Sarita Cross. I've lived in Kaiser for the last 20 years. Just celebrated my 20th wedding anniversary. My husband was born and raised in Kaiser before it was Kaiser. I work in hospitality, so people are kind of my thing. I've worked in it for the last 30 years. I've worked for Vips Industries for the last 18 years as I'm a general manager. I've kind of moved around, been the general manager of Bentley's Grill, our restaurant, our hotels, and that whole relationship building is kind of what pulls me, and it kind of fills my cup. So that is how, that's the work life. Volunteering really fills my cup. Sometimes I'm like overwhelmed by what I do, but I know that it serves a purpose. So definitely raising my kids. I was always that team scorekeeper, the team mom for football. Right now, I'm a CASA of Marion County. I'm on the YMCA board and the YMCA executive committee, which RJ, I love, because when you're talking about the buses, I'm like, I love our team memberships. I love that these kids, and it's all sliding scale, like they can take the bus and they can go to the Y and just be in this amazing place that they're encouraged, and their ability to thrive is just encouraged. And I'm also on Travel Salem's STPA committee, their sports commission. I love CTEC and all their programs. So I was so excited to take that tour with Bob, because I'm also part of the CTEC Industry Alliance, Hospitality Council, and really like connecting the dots fills my cup. So Pastor Dominguez, when you are giving me figures, I'm always thinking, because I know we are all one person, but like, who can I connect that person to? And I believe I'm here exactly on Coffee with Cathy because I am here for a purpose. And what that purpose is to be able to connect the dots. And I do believe that no matter you're white, Latino, like I can help inspire, and that one caring adult can be a child's success story. That's all it takes, is one caring adult, and they are a success story. And we have this amazing community foundation, and we are here and we can do this together. No matter who you are, what you look like, where you came from. And really, truly, that is my passion. And I am so excited to be involved in Salem Kaiser, to be part of the Kaiser City Council, and for everyone to know, like, that's how I want to leave this earth. That's how I want my movie to end, like just being us.
So just to reinforce what you said about that one student, when I went through school, there was one particular teacher who helped motivate me and pull me through. And you can go through at any student who has had success, say they can go back and point to a certain individual who helped them succeed and encouraged them. And I think that's one of the things that, as we say about Jefferson, is as RJ was saying, the people that he hires are people that he wants to reflect that. And I think that's a big reason for that, for their success.
Like sometimes you get dealt a 2 and a 7, but you know what? We are going to rally around you and you will have a winning hand and we are here for you. And I want every kid that I meet to know I truly and humbly care about you.
Last night, just to interject here, last night, the event, Roland's event last night, just to piggyback off what Bob said, his 7th grade math teacher, I believe, was there at his retirement. And that said volumes. That said volumes to that teacher that would follow a student all the way to his retirement, be there, not say very much, but a very humble man who just and Roland appreciated that very, very much. And that's the kind of teachers that, and I know Bob just said that, there have been teachers that have impacted us because of their lives, because of their caring, and have gone way beyond the duty of a teacher. And I remember a few of those on my journey.
I just think that if we can all just rally and be that bridge or be that road or be that platform, like there's no stopping us and the amazing people on this phone call and the amazing people in our community. Like we got this.
Yeah.
Well, we really do. And I saw James Hutchins, he came on a little bit and then it looks like he fell off. I'm trying to text him to see if he can get onto the program. But I do want to kind of wrap around because part of this fabric is our Chamber of Commerce, and they've just come off of a huge couple of weeks with months of preparation for not only events, but also the network of Kaiser Network of Women Giving Basket program. There's James, he's coming on now. And so I'm going to just throw right in, but I'm going to give him a ramp up. James, welcome to the program. We were just starting to talk about some of the ways that our Kaiser Chamber of Commerce interfaces and connects and creates this sense of community that we've been talking about. And not only the festive events, but also the support for our local businesses. We're so happy to have you on the program.
Hey, sorry I was late on here. I had a lot of technical difficulties here and woke up a little under the weather, so I missed my alarm there. So apologize for that. But yeah, we've had a lot of fun. It's been a busy couple weeks here at the chamber. So we had a great parade. I don't know who was at the parade.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So I got I've always come to the parade with my kids and never actually gotten to be really a part of organizing that parade, and just what goes into putting that thing on is pretty incredible. So this year I actually got to help with staging again and getting the bands moving and on the way. And I'm, as a former band kid, really loved that part of it. So was really glad that we had 5 bands from all of our area schools here out. I know it was awesome. So they had a great time, especially when they were getting formed up, and looked like the weather was super cooperative with that as well. So they weren't rained on. And but just to see how many people are involved in getting this all put together. We had some great sponsors that from around the community and the business community that helped sponsor this. And also just so many people just helped put this thing on and just make this thing work. With our Kaiser Police are fantastic with it, getting this all coordinated and making sure that we had a great event. So the parade was really awesome. Really hope that if you've ever thought about getting an entry in before, it's really it's easy to do. You can walk down River Road.
But
so
remember,
what's that?
Light it up, crank it up.
Yep,
We need
light it up
sound.
and get it. Yep, we had some great sound judges out there judging those, and it was a ball. So we had a really good time. And I think the best part for me is I got to get in one of those little 4x4 scooters that go up and down and just kind of make sure everything's flowing right. But just the awesome part is to go forward and backwards along that route and just see how many people were there. I mean, there was just not a block that didn't have just hordes of people there. So it's just great to see our community come out and get to celebrate together and just enjoy something together that they can. I know my kids talk about it all the time and that they look forward to it every year. So I think it's a really special thing that we get to do. So and then right before that, we had the Kaiser Network of Women had we've been working on this all year. So we have a big auction. Now we've moved it to May. And because it used to be a little bit closer to the time, which kind of put a time crunch on there, but we have a fundraiser called the Percy event, and it's held at Kaiser City Hall, and it's a great event. Lots of people from around the community come and join into a little silent auction. We have some fun, have a good dinner there, and raise money for the Giving Basket program. And so that money gets used for what happened just right before the parade, where we went out and spent, good grief, I think we raised something around $20,000. And there was over 300 baskets that went out to different families. And these different families, there's multiple children in each one of those families. And so we get boxes, literally boxes that are donated from Lowe's, and just huge moving boxes. And we just cram them full of presents that have been on little tags on trees out in the business community and different churches. I know my church hosted one. And folks go and take one of those little angels off the tree and go and shop for these kids here. And so we really get to bless these families and that need a little extra love this year. And it's just a great thing. I've been involved with it for several years now, and it's just one of my favorite things to do. Now it is a logistical challenge because we do have like a big drive-through. It kind of looks like Chick-fil-A drive-through, 2 lines coming up. The cars come up, and there's we had some youth out there, and a bunch of us volunteers just putting boxes in the cars, handing a sheet off to where it gets delivered. But we had cars, dozens of cars. We have even had a food truck that picked up, I believe it was Gracie's Sweet Treats, picked up and put in a gajillion boxes, and they went and delivered them all over the place. So we had dozens and dozens of cars driving all over Salem, all over Kaiser, delivering these out, and everyone got a food box so they can have a great meal, and all the kids got a gift and I believe some clothing. So just a great time. So this is my favorite time of year. You can kind of see I'm kind of glowing about that. But I think one of the proudest things that I have as chamber president is just the work that we do in the community, and this is one of the favorite parts of that.
Want to mention that this is in partnership with the Salem Kaiser School District, because the names that the families are received from the school district. So the counselors at the schools are encouraged to get that information to the chamber so we can work in partnership. And that partnership has been very carefully built and nurtured over the years, and it's a very important partnership.
That's true. Yeah. And that's really good for us, because I mean, we can't go out and get that information. And so the folks that are the counselors in the school and the teachers in the school, they're the one-on-one folks that are looking at that and seeing the kids. They know the kids in and out. And so that partnership really is important. Yeah. Thanks for bringing that up.
Absolutely.
And then the last, if you guys look down River Road, you'll see the Christmas tree was up. I unfortunately had to miss it. I was actually in Disney World. We had family vacation planned. Of course, you have to plan that way out on there. So I got to see my my new nephew and all that. My sisters I haven't seen since before COVID, so that was really good. But we had a great. I saw pictures of it in videos. So But the tree lighting, so we have a bunch of guys that get up, that are great members of the community that get up early with Dave Walry on a Saturday morning, and we block off a little bit of River Road and put those lights on that tree. And that is an undertaking. We have to get into a big bucket truck from R&R Tree Service, donates that and puts us up there, and we hang those lights on there, and it's just beautiful. So I just love seeing that down the road as I'm heading home from work. So yeah, great time of year for us.
It is. And then since we want people to know that the chamber is even more than that, is the Business Recovery Center and the partnership with the Latino Business Alliance, the partnerships with other chambers in Wilsonville, Newburgh, and so forth. You guys are working so collaboratively across our region to support businesses. And that was a huge, huge undertaking to organize the networking for this Business Recovery Center. I'm so proud.
Yeah, it's a great program, and we're really pleased that we got some recognition to be able to for folks to recognize that the business community was so affected during the pandemic. And so being able to have the Business Recovery Center pop up, there's a great bunch of folks. It's a partnership between the Kaiser Chamber, the Wilsonville Chamber, Newburgh Chamber, and I believe Woodburn Chamber, all together. And so we're able to help out businesses with grants to be able to help them just make ends meet, just recover from the struggles that the pandemic posed for the business community. So if you're interested in that, come by the Kaiser Chamber. We do have a representative from the BRC, Fatima, is there in that office. And so she does come by. And so we've had a lot of businesses already come by and talk about that, apply for the grants. And so I believe those start getting released here next month. Don't hold me to that, but I believe they're coming really quickly. So we're really excited that that's getting geared up. We've been waiting for that for a while. And then the chamber also, one of the things that we've been doing is trying to do classes. So be on the lookout if you're opening a business or you're a new business person. We're doing classes for things that really kind of dog down a new business owner, like taxes, legal stuff, QuickBooks, accounting, insurance. I hear that's important. So, but having, all those kind of things are things that, when you're starting a business and you have a great idea, like, hey, I really want to sell a widget, or I really want to, I have a passion for this, and your passion is for that. Your passion is not for accounting. Well, I mean, unless you're an accountant, so then that may be your passion, but but your passion really is for what brings you to do your business and what you want to do. And so those other things are things that are tough for a new business owner. And so we want to help support them in that. So if you're a new business owner or an existing business owner that just is struggling on something, give us a call at the chamber, and we'll probably have a class coming up for it, and we'd love to help support you.
Thank you so much. I really want to express how much I appreciate the hard work that the chamber staff, which is a whopping number of 3, I believe. They do the work of 300. Very involved board of directors, 2 right now.
Yeah.
And but also the community coming together to support our small businesses. We continue to support small business and local business, buy local, small business Saturday, other ways of reminding us that it's about local, think globally, but act locally. And that really applies in our business world. So as we wrap up our hour here today, I just want to thank everybody for joining us on the December edition of Coffee with Cathy. It has been an absolute joy to share with all of you what's going on in our great city of Kaiser. It is such a joy also to be able to continue to serve this community as your mayor And please reach out to me with your ideas, your concerns, your opportunities for Kaiser to continue to thrive into 2023. Thank you all for joining us today. Any additional closing thoughts to share with our audience?
Yeah, I was thinking, just as James was talking about the different things and businesses, especially the starting ones, is to collaboration with McNary High School again. They have students who are trying to move in that direction with a lot of the things they're doing now, especially, they have the Celtic Cup where they sell drinks and stuff like that, coffee in the morning to primarily the teachers, but also then they have the accounting department that they have with that program that comes in and takes it up. So anything that you might have that would be of their interest, or they might have that be of your interest, would be nice to collaborate.
Yeah, we actually have been trying to find lots of different ways to be able to use, especially the CTE group
Yes.
on there for CTEC. And, we've been using the graphic design folks there.
Exactly.
So we integrate those into a lot of different things that we have coming up. And especially so we do have First Citizen coming up as well. And I do know that we have the Kaiser First Citizen Banquet will come up. And so we do actually have the McNary CTE group that does the sound and audio production type stuff is going to be
Yeah.
involved in that. So
Yeah.
really excited to see them get involved in that, and with partnership with the rec. That partnership there is growing, and we're really excited about that too. So yeah.
Pastor.
Just wanted to say congratulations to Bob for making history. I mean, with your addition to the school board, we now have a majority Latino school board in a majority Latino school district. And so that's super awesome. And so I just want to congratulate you on making history, and look forward to having you on the board.
Thank you.
Bob, likewise, we are excited to have you on that board. We know your experience and the things that you bring are very valuable to our school district. And we just, again, I just echo what Ramiro said. We're so blessed to have you on that
Thank you.
board. Yes.
Well, thank you all again so much for a great conversation for the December edition of Coffee with Cathy. Our folks on the call today have been our regular contributors: Pastor Jose Dominguez from the Luz de Valle Church, Ramiro Navarro from the Chariots Board of Directors, James Hutchins from the Kaiser Chamber of Commerce, and Betty Hart from the Kaiser Fire District. It's been our pleasure to have with us today as our special guest Bob Salazar from the Salem Kaiser School Board, who I hope will be a regular contributor in 2023, and Zoraida Cross, the City Councilor-elect for the Kaiser City Council. My name is Cathy Clark. It's an honor to serve as your mayor. We hope you've enjoyed the program. Reach out to us with ideas for more programming in 2023. Have a very blessed and peaceful holiday season. Thank you all.
Thank you.